famous world leaders. Let's look at famous world leaders. These leaders have impacted greatly into their various nations and the world at large. So let's look at them. We have George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Mahatma Gandhi, Emperor Haile Selassie, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela of South Africa. So we shall be taking these leaders and their achievements or what they stood for one by one. Now, all these leaders in their time had great impact in their nations, and they fought for one cause or the other. Some fought to stop slavery, some fought to stop apartheid racism, that is people not recognizing black, taking white over the black. So it was some of them lost their lives in the course of this struggle. First, let's start with George Washington. Okay, he lived 1732 to 1799. That is like 700 years ago. That's like 300 years ago. George Washington is famous for being the father of American independence. He was the first president of the United States of America. So George Washington was born on his father's estate in Westmoreland in Virginia in 1732. So like I told you, he's the father of American independence. He fought so that Americans could gain their independence from Britain. It was the British that colonized America, but today America is world superpower. So George Washington was an American political leader, military general, statesman, founding father who served as the first president of the United States of America. Now, the next person is Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln was the 16th president of the United States of America. He's one of the greatest leaders in the world history. He's famous for fighting to end slavery in America. So Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809 and he died in 1865. Okay, so he was an American politician, a lawyer who served as the 16th president of the United States from March 1861 until his assassination in April 1865. So all these are people who have fought for the good of America. So Lincoln led the nation through his greatest moral, constitutional, and political crisis in American Civil War. Okay, so Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809 in a small wooden cabin in Kentucky, USA. Okay, he never had much formal education. Abraham Lincoln educated himself by reading books. He said that on a trip down the Mississippi River in 1831, he witnessed a slave auction. So he vowed to himself that it will never happen. So he fought against slavery. The next person we want to look at is Mahatma Gandhi. This is an Indian man. Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi is a revered worldwide as a nationalist and social reformer. Okay, Mahatma is a word used in India to refer to a person held in the highest esteem for their wisdom and saintliness. So Mahatma Gandhi successfully secured freedom for Indians by being truthful and honest. He fought against the tyrannical rule of the British. He fought the British silently and being non-violent. Okay, most often he will go on hunger strike. So he was schooled in South Africa where this racism was so pronounced. But when he came back to India, he fought the British. He was also a very good reformer. So he was dressing like, he used to dress like the English people, but by the time he came down to India, he started dressing like the Indian. So he helped the Indians to gain their independence in 1947 from the British. So Gandhi was a good man. Now let's look at Emperor Haile Selassie. Emperor Haile Selassie. Okay, Haile Selassie was a good ruler. He supported policy of modernization for Ethiopia. He also secured Ethiopia's admission to the League of Nations. Now, in 1931, he abolished the slave trade in the Ethiopian Empire, and that same year, he introduced Ethiopia's first written constitution. But in 1935, Italy invaded Ethiopia, which led to Haile Selassie spending 5 years in exile in England. He only returned to Ethiopia in 1941 after the Italians were defeated by British and Ethiopian forces. Now, the Rastafarians of Jamaica believe that, have you seen the Rastafarians, their images? So they believe that Haile Selassie was an incarnation of God. So they believe in him, they love him so much. Okay, so that is Haile Selassie, Emperor Haile Selassie. Let's look at Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. This was the man that changed the name Gold Coast. Before, the name wasn't Ghana, it used to be called Gold Coast, but Kwame Nkrumah changed it to Ghana. He's a Ghanaian nationalist leader who led the Gold Coast drive for independence from Britain, because it's the same Britain that colonized Ghana that still colonized us, Nigeria. So we had nationalists in Nigeria that helped to fight against the British, and we had independence. So Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana helped to secure Ghana's independence from the Britain, and he presided over its emergence as the new nation of Ghana. So he headed the country from independence in 1957 until he was overthrown by a coup in 1986. So Kwame Nkrumah was born in the town of Nkruful in what was then the Gold Coast in 1909. Okay, so he attended his school in Accra, Ghana, and went to a missionary school. So Kwame Nkrumah spent his last years in exile. Now let's look at Martin Luther King. You probably have heard of Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech, "I have a dream." He sparked hope and change in America during the civil rights movement. He's well known for his public speaking, but also his nonviolent ways as a leader. Without Martin Luther King Jr., racial equality and the society we have today may not have been possible. As a result of his inspiring actions, the famous world have gotten all it had in terms of racial discrimination. So Martin Luther King fought against racism in America, but finally he was shot. He was shot when he went to help some persons that were being marginalized. They were underpaid. So they targeted him and they shot him. The next person is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. This famous world leader, okay, should be one that you're familiar with. I don't know, most of you have heard about the word Nelson Mandela. He was the first democratically elected president of South Africa. Okay? Now, he is commonly known for his fight against racial discrimination, which put him in prison for a long time, yet his intentions were never swayed or altered. So upon his release from prison, South Africa became free and everyone was entitled to a better future, as every person was considered to be equal. Okay, so Nelson Mandela actually fought for the freedom of South Africans. He fought against racism, that is apartheid.